So the day after Christmas, and we've all gone through a lot of ups and downs this year. So I just thought I would just theme this class over kind of taking stock and finding what you've accomplished and what you're grateful for. And as you're kind of moving through challenging times, it becomes easier to manifest and look for the positive things that you want to, and sometimes it takes difficulty to see those qualities. So just take a moment to arrive, settle in, and just allow your breath to flow. As yoga is an inward practice through the tool of using your breath, this can be your guide of how far you need to go in a pose, or if it's too much, or maybe you need to push yourself just a little more. Use your breath as a guide. Anytime you find a sticky moment, just keep arriving with your breath. And tune into your heart chakra. And just imagine a golden light coming out of your heart. And you can take this energy by placing your palms on your heart on the inhale, and then on the exhale, take that golden light, reaching your hands out, and start to wash it over yourself, coming up over your head, and then bringing it down to your body. And then coming back with an inhale, placing your hands on your heart. On the exhale, taking that light, washing it over your body. And each time you come through, maybe on the exhale, you're blowing out some residue. Just let it go into space, and then taking that golden light and washing it over yourself. It's like you're recycling. Taking in the new and just allowing any residue to come out, as the universe can absorb and transmute that energy and then bring that golden light through. And when that feels complete, you can rest your palms on your heart. As you are tuning into the vibration of the world and the people around you in your work life, it's through our heart that we do our best work, but we also have to replenish and refuel ourselves. So let's start out doing some arm raises. Inhaling, raising your arms up overhead. And then exhale to release. Inhaling up. Exhale to release. Inhaling up. And exhaling. And then the next time you come down, hold. And we're going to start to come into a twist. So place your left palm on your right knee and then kickstand your right arm behind you. On the inhale, extend. On the exhale, twist looking toward your right shoulder. On the exhale, to unwind, coming to the other knee, placing your right hand on your left knee, kickstanding your left hand behind you. Inhaling to extend, and exhale to twist, looking toward your left shoulder. And then exhale to unwind. Then coming to all fours, hands and knees. Start to come into the cat and cow, inhaling your heart forward, lifting your head, tilting your tailbone, and then exhaling the other direction into cow or into cat. And just use your breath to guide how fast or slow you're going. See if you can articulate each individual vertebrae as you start to move the fluid through. And maybe playing with some different motions, maybe rocking side to side, doing whatever feels good, just allowing your breath to guide the movement. And then coming to a neutral spine, begin to extend your right arm long and your left arm, or left leg behind you, opposite leg and arm. See if you can create a neutral pelvis and engaging through your core. And as you exhale, curl your elbow and your knee together. And then inhale to extend. Coming back to all fours, hands and knees. Extend your left arm long and your right leg long behind you. On the exhale, curling your elbow and knee together. And extend. Coming back to all fours, hands and knees. We're going to come to thread the needle. So place your left palm underneath your nose, and then on the inhale, begin to reach your right arm up towards the sky. And then on the exhale, begin to curl your arm underneath toward your left shoulder, maybe placing your shoulder on your mat, if that feels good. You can even place your left palm on the base of your spine for a little more. And inhaling to unwind, reaching towards the sky with your right arm. Coming back to all fours, hands and knees, placing your right palm underneath your nose. Inhale to extend your left arm overhead. As you exhale, begin to thread that through underneath your right armpit, placing your left shoulder towards the mat. And if it feels good, maybe placing your right palm on the base of your spine. And then inhaling to unwind, reaching your left arm up, and then coming back to all fours, hands and knees. Start to reach your palms towards the end of your mat and come into child's pose. Maybe having your legs wide. And then placing your forehead on the mat. This is going to activate your third eye. This is your moon center. This is the area of reception, the seed of your intuition. This is always a space that you can come to at any point in your practice. Just see if you can sense your breath through your back body. We're going to prepare to come into a downward facing dog from here. So spread your fingers well and see if you can place the emphasis mostly on the pads of your fingertips to alleviate strain off your wrists. And then once you have that foundation, you can begin to tuck your toes and start to lift your knees, coming into a downward facing dog. Finding broadened shoulders. Maybe keeping your knees bent at first so that you can have length through your spine. Maybe pedaling your heels, allowing any tightness in your hamstrings to release. Maybe creating a little more bend. On the next inhale, begin to look forward and start to walk towards the front of your mat. Coming into a standing forward fold. And just allow your chest to rest onto your thighs by creating a bend to your knees. And just allow your head to hang. And with each exhale, just allow any tension to release out your neck and out through the top of your head. And maybe grabbing opposite elbows, swaying side to side if that feels nice. Maybe shaking your head left and right and up and down. Just letting tension go with each exhale. We're going to begin to roll up into standing pose. See if you can raise up one vertebrae at a time until you find standing. And for this foundation pose, Tadasana, think about your hip to knee to ankle alignment, and then finding your foot foundation. See if you can weight equally through all four corners of your feet. This is going to give you the foundation of all your standing poses just in your feet. And then begin to engage through your strong legs. And find a slight lifting of your Mula Bandha. This is going to create a lock and a grounding energy. And just find your pelvis alignment. See what feels neutral. Maybe play with going back and forth to see if you can find an alignment. Some people tend to be tilted more backwards, anterior, or some people tend to be more forward. See if you can find a neutral pelvis alignment. And then start to engage through your core. And come up with a broadened shoulders. Find alignment with your Jalandhara. This is your neck bandha. See if you can find a length in your neck. And then on the inhale, begin to raise your arms overhead. And then exhale, shift your right for crescent. Inhaling up for neutral. Exhale to your left. Inhale up for neutral. Exhale your palms to your third eye. And then coming to your heart chakra. Think of an intention that can carry you through your practice today. It could just be one word. And anytime you find yourself drifting, you can come back to this intention. Exhale, come to a forward fold. Inhale to lift your heart. And as you exhale, step to plank and hold. We're going to be here for 5 breaths. So first, engage to your strong legs to kind of keep that core engaged. And use your breath to find stability. And at the bottom of the last exhale, lower to your mat, facing your chest down. And come to the tops of your feet and anchor them to the mat, hugging your legs together and engaging through your core. We're going to come into a baby cobra pose from here. On the inhale, begin to lift your heart and extend your neck long. Even though this is a small lift, there's a lot going on in just this little area. Exhale to lower. And the next time we're going to come up into a Sphinx pose. So begin to place your forearms in front of you. And then when you're ready, you can come up. And it's the same engagement with your legs. And it's going to give you a little more lifting to your heart. See if you can use your forearms to kind of pull yourself forward and lengthen your neck. Exhale to release. You can rest your cheek on one side. We're going to start to find our way to downward facing dog from here. So you can travel through child's pose if that feels nice. Coming into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, inhale to extend your right leg long behind you. And on the exhale, begin to curl your knee in toward your chest and start to step it toward your palms. And then place your back knee down. Coming into a low lunge from here. Inhale to extend your arms overhead. See if you can find a neutral pelvis, engagement through your core, and a length through your spine. And next we're going to rock back and forth, inhaling forward, and then exhale to straighten the front leg, coming the other direction. Starting to bring some energy into your hips and your knees. Use your breath to guide your pace. And the next time you come forward, come to stillness and place your palms on the inside of your right foot and start to wiggle your foot out to the side of your mat. And this is setting up for a lizard pose. So you can stay upright like this, or if it feels okay, you can come down onto your forearms. This is going to give you a little more intensity to your hips. You can always come back up. Just using your breath. On the next inhale, coming back up onto your palms. And then finding your way to downward facing dog. We're going to set up for the other side. Inhale to extend your left leg long behind you. On the exhale, begin to curl your knee in toward your chest and step it toward your palms. And then place your back knee down on the mat. Inhale, your arms overhead for low lunge. Finding extension through your spine, stability through your pelvis. And then placing your palms on the mat and begin to find movement and motion back and forth through your breath, inhaling forward, exhaling back, straightening your front leg, using your breath to guide your pace. And next time you come forward, place your palms on the inside of your left foot and wiggle your foot out to the side of your mat. You can stay here, or if it feels okay, you can come down to your forearms for lizard pose. This is going to stretch your left hip. Use your breath. On the next inhale, coming up onto your palms and finding your way to downward facing dog. We'll be here for 3 full breaths. See if you can find your ground. And notice what might feel different since the beginning of practice. On the next inhale, begin to look forward and step or hop towards the front of your mat. Inhale your heart forward. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhaling, hands to heart. We're going to come into a chair pose from here, keeping your palms at heart center. Begin to sit back into your imaginary chair. And if this feels okay, maybe extending your arms overhead for the full chair expression, engaging through your thighs and your core. Exhale, coming into a forward fold. Inhale to lift your heart forward. Exhale to step to plank and hold. And then lowering to your mat and setting up for, I'm forgetting the name of the pose, but extending your arms backwards and then begin to lift your thighs. This is going to give you engagement to your heart. And if you want to come to the next level, you can bring your feet towards your palms. And if you have that, maybe clasping so that you can have a little more engagement and a little more lift. Or you can always release. Exhale to lower. And finding your way to downward facing dog from here. From downward facing dog, inhale to extend your right leg long behind you. And then on the exhale, begin to curl your knee in towards your chest and step it towards your palms. And we're gonna come up into a warrior two. So inhaling up for warrior two. First, finding engagement through your feet. See if you can sense all four corners. And then find your neutral pelvis, engagement through your core, and then broadening through your chest and extending out through your fingertips, using your breath. Exhale to reverse your warrior, reaching up with your left or your right arm towards the ceiling and breathing through your right side body. On the exhale to release, and we're going to come into an extended side angle from here. Maybe resting your right elbow on your knee and reaching your left arm overhead. Finding a line from your ankle all the way up to your fingertips and an engagement through your side body. You can stay here in extended side angle, or if you like to take a bind, you can do so. Yogi's choice. If you're coming into a bind, see if you can find a broadening through your chest and start to look towards the ceiling, opening up your shoulders. And we're going to shift into triangle pose from here. You can release the bind if you like, or you can stay in the bind, coming into triangle pose. And then to come out, come into a regular triangle. And then we're going to cartwheel our palms towards the mat to find our way to downward facing dog. If you like to take a vinyasa, you can do so, or find child's pose, or come just straight into downward facing dog. We'll be here for 3 full breaths. Use this time to assess where you're at. And find some fluid, smooth breaths. On the bottom of the next inhale, begin to look forward, bend your knees, and start to walk or hop towards the front of your mat. Inhale to lift your heart. Exhale to fold. We're going to come into chair pose from here. Inhaling for chair. And if it feels okay, maybe finding the full extension with your arms overhead. And then inhale to rise to stand. We're going to do everything on the other side, but we're going to shift to the other side of the mat. Coming into chair pose first, placing your palms at your heart center. Finding engagement through your thighs. And once you have this, you can create more leverage. If it feels okay, raising your arms overhead or extending them out forward. Exhale to come to a forward fold. Inhale to lift your heart, and exhale to step to plank. And from here, yogi's choice, you can come straight into downward facing dog, or you can come into child's pose, or you can take a vinyasa, maybe baby cobra if that feels okay. Coming into any of the heart openers. Finding your way to downward facing dog. Inhale to extend your left leg long behind you. On the exhale, begin to curl your knee in towards your chest and step it towards your palms. And we're going to raise up into a warrior two. Begin to place that back foot down. Inhaling for warrior two. Finding your stability through your feet. That grounded connection. Finding your neutral pelvis. The engagement through your core. And the fluidity through your breath. Exhale to reverse your warrior. And we're going to come into extended side angle from here, finding your transition. See if you can find an engagement through your whole side body. And if you like to take a bind, you can do so. See if you can find an opening through your shoulders. And we're going to come into triangle pose from here. If you want to keep the bind, you can. Finding triangle pose. It's a little bit tricky to hold the bind, so if you need to come out, taking care of yourself. And then to come out, coming into regular triangle pose from here. And then cartwheeling your palms towards your mat and finding your transition to downward facing dog. Taking whatever route feels okay. From downward facing dog, we'll be here for 3 full breaths. You're always welcome to come into child's pose. On your next inhale, begin to look forward, bending your knees, and step or hop towards the front of your mat. Inhaling your heart forward, exhale to fold. Coming into chair pose from here, and finding the leverage that feels good. And inhale to rise to stand. So we're going to do the moon salutations from here. We're going to have our last full moon on December 29th. That's a Tuesday. It's going to be the last full moon of the year. And that will be a full moon in Cancer, which will be opposite Capricorn. So we'll be experiencing kind of a high emotion around family and finding long-term stability. So doing a moon salutation is a good way to receive that energy and be still with yourself. Inhale your arms overhead. Exhale to shift your right for crescent. Inhaling back for neutral. Exhale, shifting to your left for crescent. Inhale for neutral. Begin to step your right foot wide along your mat, finding star pose. This is your full moon expression. Exhale for goddess. Inhale for star. Next, we're going to shift into triangle. Point your right foot towards the opposite end of the mat and shift your hips back, reaching forward with your right arm, and then finding triangle pose. This is your gibbous phase, waning moon. Next, we're going to shift into pyramid from here. Begin to hop that back foot in, paralleling your hips towards the back of your mat. Inhale to extend your spine long, and exhale, begin to hinge from your hips, folding forward, maybe creating a slight bend to your front knee for pyramid. Next, placing your back knee on your mat, coming into a low lunge. This is your quarter moon expression. Inhale, your arms overhead. See if you can find a neutral pelvis and extension through your spine. And next, you're going to shift to your right for surfer's pose or skandasana. This is your crescent moon expression. You can rest your palms on your mat, or you can come up with various arm positions for a little more leverage. Next, beginning to shift towards the center of your mat for Malasana Pose. This is the new moon expression, the beginning of the cycle. And next, shifting to the other side for crescent or skandasana or surfer's pose as your moon is beginning to wane, wax. As it's beginning bigger is waxing. And next we're going to shift to that quarter moon expression, coming into your low lunge. Keeping your knee down on the mat and your front knee at a 90-degree. Inhale to extend your arms overhead. And next we're going to find pyramid from the ground up, placing your palms on the mat, hopping that back foot in, and creating a slight bend to your front knee to find pyramid pose. See if you can find an extended spine. And next we're going to find triangle from the ground up, hopping that back foot back. And begin to dial your right arm up like a clock striking midnight for triangle. Finding engagement through your core and looking up towards the ceiling. And next we're going to come to star, mindfully coming up and finding your full moon expression, taking up as much space as you can. Exhale for goddess. Inhale for star. And now we're going to go to the other side of the mat and do everything we just did in reverse order. Inhaling your arms overhead. Exhale to shift to your right for crescent. Inhale for center. Exhale to your left. Inhale for center. And as you exhale, begin to step your left foot wide along your mat, finding your star pose. This is your full moon expression. Exhale for goddess. Inhale for star. And begin to point your left foot towards the other side of your mat, shifting your hips back and reaching forward. And then coming into triangle pose from here. Looking up towards your top hand. Use your breath to find stability. And next we're going to shift into pyramid. So mindfully paralleling your hips and hopping your back foot in. Creating a slight bend to your knee. Inhale to extend your spine. Exhale to hinge from your hips. Folding forward for pyramid pose. See if you can find an extended spine. And next, placing your back knee down on the mat, keeping your front knee at a 90-degree. Inhaling your arms overhead for that low lunge. This is your quarter moon expression. As your moon is continuing to wane, see if you can find stability through your pelvis. On the next exhale, begin to shift towards your left for a surfer's pose. This is your crescent moon phase. And finding your hand placement that feels good for you. And next, finding the center of your mat for a Malasana Squat. This is your new moon, the beginning of the cycle. Exhaling to your right for surfers, for your crescent moon expression as it's starting to wax. And then finding your quarter moon expression, placing the back knee down on the mat, keeping your front knee at a 90-degree. Inhale to extend your arms overhead, finding stable hips and an extended spine. And then coming into pyramid from the ground up, placing your palms on the mat, and then hopping that back foot in, creating a bend to your front knee. See if you can find an extended spine. And next, coming into triangle, hopping that back foot back. And begin to reach your left arm up towards the ceiling like a clock striking midnight for triangle. This is your give us phase. And then coming up into star pose mindfully for your full moon expression. Reaching, taking up space. Taking in what you need to nurture yourself, to create comfort and stability as you move through this cycle. Exhale for goddess. Inhale for star. Begin to place your hands at your hips. We're going to come into a wide leg forward fold. Inhale to extend your spine. As you exhale, begin to hinge from your hips and place your palms underneath your shoulders. And we're going to come into a twist, so placing your left palm underneath your nose. On the inhale, begin to reach your right arm skyward, finding your twist. On the exhale to unwind, placing your right palm underneath your nose. Inhale to extend your left arm overhead for your twist. Exhale to unwind. And begin to reach your arms out in front of you so that you have an extended spine, maybe bending your knees slightly for downward facing dog arms. And then next, placing your palms underneath your shoulders. And we're going to start to come to standing, maybe placing your palms on your hips as you hinge up to standing. And then on the exhale, begin to hop your feet together. And then we're going to start to come down into our mats, coming into a Malasana Squat. Just sensing the nice grounded energy that you've cultivated in your practice. And then we're going to start to come down onto your sits bones. Just gently coming down and extending your legs out in front of you. Maybe pulling the flesh out from underneath. We're going to come into a forward fold from here, maybe creating a bend to your knees. And then on the inhale, begin to extend your arms overhead. Exhale to hinge forward. On the inhale, reaching. On the exhale, hinging forward. And when you have as much reach as you can get, then you can begin to fold over. Using your breath to release. Then inhale to come back up. We're going to come into a twist from here. So place your left ankle around your right knee. And then kickstand your right palm behind you. On the inhale, extend your left arm overhead. On the exhale, begin to clasp it towards the inside of your knee and look towards your right shoulder. Inhaling for an extension. On the exhale, twisting. And think about releasing toxins with each exhale. Like your organs are a sponge and it's releasing with each exhale. And next exhale to unwind, straightening that leg. Then taking your right foot over your left knee and kickstanding your left arm behind you. Inhaling your right arm overhead. And as you exhale, begin to clasp it towards the inside of your knee. For an extension on the exhale, begin to twist looking towards your left shoulder. Think about extending through your inhale and twisting through your exhale. Think of your body like a sponge. With each exhale, releasing. Exhale to release and extending your leg out in front of you. We're going to come into boat poses from here, the Malasana boat pose. So you're going to balance onto your sits bones. And as you rock back, you can lift your feet. You can keep it more at an angle, or you can play with straightening your legs. This is going to give you more leverage. You can always keep your hands at your sides or at your thighs, or you can release, and this will give you a little more leverage. See if you can engage through your core and use your breath to stabilize. Exhale to release into butterfly pose. This is your resting point. We're going to come up 2 more times. When you're ready, shifting back onto your sits bones, extending your legs out in front of you, and use your breath. Stabilizing through your core. On the exhale to release to butterfly. And setting up for 1 more time. When you're ready, shifting back to your sits bones, extending your legs out in front of you, finding your leverage, using your breath. Now exhale to release, coming into your butterfly. Maybe giving yourself a foot massage if that feels good. And we're going to begin to come down onto our backs, so bending your knees. See if you can roll down as slowly as you can, using your core to stabilize on the way down. And we're going to come into bridge pose. So think about bringing your ankles as close as you can so that maybe the tips of your fingers can graze your ankles. And you're going to stabilize through your feet as you start to come up, ground through your feet and engaging through your thighs. Begin to lift through your hips on the exhale, coming up into a bridge. And as you lift your hips, start to place the weight onto your shoulders. This is going to give you the foundation. The exhale to lower. We're going to come up 1 more time into bridge pose. And the next time we come up, if you want to clasp your palms together, this is going to give you a little more leverage, and this is going to give you a little more base for a foundation. As you rest, you can start to create a little more lift. So as you prepare to come up, ground through your feet, engaging through your legs, and begin to lift through your hips on the exhale. And as you create a little lift, maybe you have a little room to start to reach your palms together. And as you have them together, begin to clasp them and then start to anchor through your shoulders and through your arms as a base. And use this to give yourself a little more lift through your hips. See if you can raise your heart a little more. Then exhale to release back down to your mat. Begin to hug your knees into your chest. Rocking side to side, giving yourself a low back massage. And we're going to come into a recline twist. Begin to reach your arms out like a T. And begin to scoot your hips over to the left side of your mat. And then on the exhale, begin to bring your knees towards the right, using your core to stabilize as you lower. And once you're down on the ground, you can look towards the opposite hand over towards your left. This is going to give you your reclining twist. On the inhale, begin to hug your knees in towards your chest and start to shift your hips over to the right side of your mat. And then coming down on the other side, bringing your knees to the left side of your mat, using your core to stabilize as you lower. And once your knees are down, you can begin to look towards your right hand. Inhaling to bring your knees into your chest and taking any final poses that you need to complete your practice, maybe happy baby if that feels good. Just taking what you need to complete your practice. And when you're ready, coming into your final relaxation pose, Shavasana. Just allowing yourself to settle in with each exhale, seeing if you can release a little more. As relaxation is a space where your body does all its magic, all its work. It has the intelligence to renew, regenerate, create new neural connections that you made during your practice. As it realigns, just allow yourself to relax a little more into your final pose. Just seeing if you can let your mind just drift. And just letting everything go. Om Shanti. 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 And begin to deepen your breath, finding some small movements, maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes. When you're ready, begin to open your eyes, placing your palms at your heart center. Remembering that intention that you set for yourself at the beginning of your practice. See if you can bring this intention into the rest of your day. And thank yourself for the time that you put into yourself today on your mat, of starting to fuel your energy, feeding yourself, so that you're replenished and you're able to give to others. As you give to yourself, you have the capacity to pass it onward. The teacher in me honors and sees the teacher in you. Thank you.